How you doing? How you doing? Um, my normal associate isn't here tonight. He is having some cell services, so it is what it is. Uh, so I have a couple of shows that, well, I have a couple things I've been working on. Tonight is ghosts, demons, and UFOs. The chat is open. This is live. This isn't pre-recorded like last night. Things will bounce around on the channel as they go. So I am first and fair warning. I am using some new software, so hopefully there won't be too many bugs tonight. But I don't know. We'll get it all. Hopefully the mics aren't too scratchy. Anyway, welcome back to Paranoid Times, guys. The show where the strange is just possible. Of course, I'm your host tonight, like always, and we're talking ghosts, not the Hollywood kind, not the sheet over the head kind. I mean the kind that stands just behind you when you swear you're alone. If you're listening in the dark, maybe you should turn on the lights. I mean, I would. You never know what's in there. Most ghost stories start the same way. You've heard them on my channel. You've heard them on others. Most TV and movies start the same way. A noise, a whisper, a footstep, something small enough to ignore until you can't. Let me tell you about a hallway. Not a haunted mansion, not an abandoned asylum, just a hallway in a regular house belonging to a man named Carter. Carter lived alone, no pets, no roommates, but every night around 2:13 a.m., he heard footsteps walking past his bedroom door. Slow, heavy, and deliberate. He tried to explain it away. Old pipes, settling wood, maybe a neighbor. But the sound wasn't always around him. It was in the hallway. One night, he finally opened the door. The footsteps stopped, but the hallway smelled like cold air and old perfume. Ghosts don't always show themselves. Sometimes they wait. Sometimes they watch. Carter started noticing something else. His name being whispered. Not loudly, not clearly, just enough to make him freeze mid-step. He said it sounded like someone trying to remember how to speak, like a voice that hadn't been used in a long, long time. He tried recording it. Every time he hit record, the whisper stopped. But the movement, but the moment he put his phone down, Carter. He moved out 2 months later. The house is still empty. The hallway is still quiet until 2:13 a.m. People ask me all the time, are ghosts real? My son's even asked me. I don't answer yes. I don't answer no. I answer this. Some places feel wrong for a reason. Maybe ghosts aren't spirits trapped between worlds. Maybe they're memories replaying themselves. Maybe they're echoes of people who refuse to be forgotten. Or maybe, just maybe, They're watching us because we're the ones who don't belong. If you've ever heard footsteps in your hallway, if you've ever felt someone standing behind you, if you've ever heard your name whispered when no one was home, you're not alone. You're just living in paranoid times. Now, let's shift gears to something people seem to think ghosts might be demons. And UFOs. There's a possibility they might not be different things at all. Once again, if you're listening alone, maybe don't look at the window or look outside. It's dark here. There's a warm summer air. It feels weird out there. One day it's cold. One day it's hot. We're not in summer yet. Or at least I don't think we are. It's hard to tell. It's hard to keep track. I don't know if the Earth is playing games or on some new weird track that no one's told me about. But let's start with a man named Ellis. A truck driver. Night shifts. The kind of man who didn't believe in anything he couldn't fix with a wrench. One night on Route 58, he saw a light in the sky. Not a star, not a plane. Something that moved like it was looking for something. It followed him for 3 miles, and then it vanished. When he got home, he heard scratching on his roof. Slow, deliberate, like claws dragging across metal. He stepped outside with the flashlight. Nothing on the roof, but the air smelled like sulfur. And then something whispered his name from the tree line. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Some researchers think UFOs aren't extraterrestrials at all. They think they're interdimensional. And if something can slip between dimensions, who's to say it's friendly? Ancient text describes beings that descend from the sky, bringing fear, distorting reality, and vanishing without a trace. Sound familiar? If it doesn't, check the news. Check what people are saying. Even our own government, people in our government, don't believe the things they're seeing in the sky are UFOs. They believe they're demons or creatures from a parallel or an interdimensional place that we've either brought here or they've come here for a specific reason. Or maybe the demons didn't go anywhere. Maybe they just upgraded their rides. People who claim UFO encounters often report the same thing afterward. In almost every case. I'm not going to say every case, but almost every case. Even me. And I bet most of you have experienced these things. Sleep paralysis, shadow figures, voices that don't sound human, a feeling of being watched from the corner of the room. I believe they're around all the time. I believe tonight, if you were to turn off all the lights in the house, all your devices, turn off your phone, that something eventually, maybe outside, maybe down the hall, maybe in the room you are in, but something will feel out of place. And just maybe, you will see something. Or tonight, go outside and look at the sky. For most of us, if you go out and look left, you're going to see Venus hanging in the sky. Bright and observant. Staring down at you. Looking at you. Reflecting the rays of the sun, just as the moon does. But you have to wonder, are the things at NASA, the things the other governments, the pictures we see, short clips of videos from spacecraft wandering around the universe, are they true? Are they really true? We take a lot of things for granted, don't we? People tell us things, and we accept it. That's how it's always been. That's how it seems always will be. Sure, we can sit here and question every single thing. They call us conspiracy theorists. Call us paranoid. They call us crazy for wanting to question things. And this is something they should never do. Because people who question things, not all, but some, eventually find answers to the things they're looking for. Now, these symptoms show up in demonic encounters too. Anyone that has had a demonic encounter has had the same reports of sleep paralysis, shadowy figures, voices that don't sound human, a feeling of being watched from the corner of the room. Heck, some people claim to have figured out a way to unlock it. They take stuff like Benadryl, more Benadryl than they should. My mom was one. I didn't know. I didn't really figure it out until later. People around the globe that don't know each other have seen the same entity called the Hat Man. A dark figure who stands at the end of your bed or in your bathroom. Or maybe your closet if you have one of those walk-in ones like Mama used to. Standing there with a old round rim hat, black trench coat. Can't really make out his face. But he's there. They're always there. They're always watching. Something. Be it ghosts, demons, some entity, something old, maybe before the earth cooled down and we started to grow here. Things from a smokeless fire. One woman said she woke up unable to move with a tall, thin figure standing by her bed. Black eyes, no face, just watching. Could you imagine that? You wake up in the middle of the night, and at the foot of your bed, or however you sleep. Hell, for years there, I slept on the couch. Other times, I slept in a chair or beanbag. Just whatever my situation wanted me to do. You see, I'm a man of need, a man of requirement. I try to be the ever-watching person. Like when my son was sick, I would sleep on the floor a few feet away from him just to make sure he was okay. And that went on for a year. I'm still not too far. I'm never too far from the people I love. You can't be. You don't know what's out there at night. You don't know what's out there in the daytime. But there's something out there that seems to want a piece of each and one of us. Maybe it's the things we don't notice. Sometimes our eyes will see them, a shadow out of our eye, or something that moves alone. Maybe there's a creature, a hideous thing that stays up in the corner of our rooms like a spider, waiting, watching, smiling, ready to pounce on top of us. And just maybe that's when they mess with us. It's when we sleep, when we're open, when we're defenseless. Now, as I said, one woman said she woke up unable to move with a tall, thin figure standing by her bed, black eyes, no face, just watching. She said it didn't walk away. It folded out of existence, like reality bent around it. Was it alien, a demon, or something that doesn't care what we call it? A lot of these things that people see, and some people have the ability to watch them. They're in tune to them. The ones you can believe anyway. I hate to say it, but the UFO, paranormal world, and even religion is plagued with scammers. You want to do something good. You want to help people. But you don't know if you're helping people. You don't know if you're helping a preacher's pocket. Hell, you don't know if you're sinning yourself. Things aren't what they used to be. Maybe they never have been. Night isn't just darkness. It's a weak spot. A time when the mind drifts. The world quits and quiets. It's a veil between dimensions, and it thins. The sun's gone, and if we're lucky, the moon is out. At least the moon can shine her light on the craziestness of the world. We've all heard the stories, and we've all seen it. When there's a full moon, people behave differently. Maybe they're weaker. Maybe they don't have the controls that we should have. Maybe it's just drugs. Maybe it's drugs that opens us up to creatures that are these interdimensional things, or demons, or maybe even ghosts. In a way they can control us. I mean, if demons can possess somebody, as we've always been told, we've all seen the stories of exorcisms and God knows what. I think a lot of us have watched too much TV and read too many books. But hey, it's the things that entertain us, right? And then ghosts. They say ghosts can possess people. So if they can extraterrestrials do it too? So I'm wondering if we can't be influenced or possessed or taken control of. If something wanted to slip through, if something wanted to observe us, if something wanted to feed, that would be the time to do it. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. I had to have somebody bring me some more coffee. But yeah, if something wanted to slip through, if something wanted to observe us, and if something wanted to feed, night would be the perfect time. We're all told that the witching hour is when the veil is the thinnest. And that's when you see something. I disagree. I think the veil is thinnest when the sun leaves the sky. I think it's the time when something, anything, that wants to move around secretly can. can use the darkness to hide. Darkness to move. The way the animals move through the cities. Patches of woods and forest. Cut through urban jungles. That's how the cryptids would move. If Bigfoot was real, that's how he would move. Move behind our houses. Moving through the woods. From place to place. And I think that's how the things in the sky, I think that's how they always done. But we all seem to start noticing stuff now. This year, for some reason. Could it have been because of the virus? Did we all become enlightened? Something happened. Maybe UFOs aren't scouting us. Maybe they're hunting us. Maybe they're hunting us. Not at specific times. At specific times. Maybe specific times in our life, our world, we become active. Our bodies emit more energy. Or we put off a marker. Maybe that's when they decide to come and pick us up. Or they decide to watch us, interrogate us, see what we are. Or maybe they're stuck here and they're bored. And they don't want to pay for Netflix. So the next time you see a strange light in the sky, or hear scratching on your roof, or wake up with the feeling that something is standing in the corner of your room, ask yourself, is it a visitor from another planet? Or something much older? And much closer? You're not paranoid. As I said before, you're living in paranoid times. Now tonight, I was going to show some found footage. It involves a man that really wanted to work with me. He wanted to be my reporter on the ground, one of them. I used to have a few. I wish I still did, because there's all kinds of crazy stuff that goes on out there. Maybe, just maybe, as paranoid times grows again, maybe I can bring some of you guys on. We can talk about things. There's a few in my group that shows some wonderful pictures of the stuff they watch at night. Of the ghosts they see around their house, their home. That young lady's always posting something. Almost seems like she's asking for help. But this individual, I got a call from a viewer one night. Normally, I don't always pay attention to these things. you do meet a lot of people who have some issues. They might be experiencing a breakdown, or they might be on drugs. I get it. Or they might want to joke with me, pull my leg. I'm fine with that too. But this man was shaking. You could hear it. He said he saw demonic shapes inside a UFO light beam. Sounds like nonsense, don't it? But this guy was terrified, mortified. He sent me a clip. Shows this thing beaming down from the sky. Then a while later, I didn't hear anything else from him. I got tape in the mail. Now, I do have some of that older equipment. You remember the kind. The little tiny VHS looking tapes. The kind you put in the camcorders. I got like four of those camcorders I had planned to use to film the Gas Mask Chronicles and a few other little side projects. But I don't have the conversion software and the equipment to transfer that from that analog to digital. I got bits and pieces still, but I don't have everything now. So I gotta figure that out. Because there's a lot of stuff I need to show you guys. Anyway, that's on the technical side. That doesn't matter. As I watch this video through the little camera receptacle, it shows them walking through the woods. You can hear the leaves crunching. And he points up and said there's a glowing through the trees. White, but wrong. It flickers with like fire, but there's no heat. He zooms in. You know those old cameras? Their zoom is weird. Almost like they break physics when they're looking at something. You see little lines on the screen that sort of like match up the direction that you want to see. I don't know why this guy was using this type of camera. Maybe it was all he had. Maybe it was all he felt comfortable using. But I'm still glad he sent it to me. He goes on to say, that's not a spotlight. It's coming from above. But I don't hear any engines. I couldn't hear any engines on the tape. But after a little while, I began to hear a low, distant hum. Almost electric, almost not. Didn't really sound like anything I've ever heard. The guy that was recording it and talking about it, he didn't really mention it. And at first I was thinking, is this the camera? Is this something on him? But no. It's whatever that light was up there in the tree. And I started thinking, here I have this old tape. This guy went out there. Something he's been seeing. And there's a spotlight looking thing up in the trees, it looked like. You see the top of the trees. and there's a hum. And I'm thinking, is this real UFO evidence? Am I seeing a UFO on a videotape? Well, that's in my mind. That's in my mind as I'm watching this. I'm like, oh God, here, this is proof. It might be, but I don't know. If it's proof, it's some of the best I've ever seen. You can see the light pulse between the trees. I don't know if, as a kid, you ever took a flashlight and kind of shined it across the trees. And you notice how either the light would pass through or, certain parts of the tree would illuminate and then go off. Illuminate and go off. Illuminate and go off. This is what it looked like. But from the top. No, not from the bottom. This guy had no camera, no light on him whatsoever. Around this time is when the guy started shaking a little bit, it seemed like. His camera was shaking. I don't blame him. But he had seen this before. He was determined, like many of us, I would hope, determined to get some kind of proof of this thing. Whatever it is we see. He speaks. He says, I'm hearing something. Not an animal. Not a person. And on the audio, this is not his voice. I hear a distorted whisper. It sort of bleeds into the audio. It's not the kind of sound like if me and you are sitting at a coffee table. At a table drinking coffee, talking. And I'm recording that conversation. I've done it many a times when I've interviewed people, or when I've had them tell me their stories, or for whatever reason. You can tell when there's two people that are talking, or three people, or four people, or when you're having a conference call. But whatever this is seemed like it was added after the fact. It just seemed to bleed in with the audio. It just seemed to be part of the stream almost. In this world, even in a lot of the older stuff when it comes to audio, you could turn one channel down and take the audio, take the voice completely out. No, this is in the audio. That's what I'm trying to say. It's part of the whole thing. Though it's there, even though it's not. The whisper, you could hear it over and over again. Slowly, you would begin to make it out. To me, it sounded like it was saying, come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Now's the time. I want to ask you wholeheartedly, if you're out in the woods, you see something in the tree, lights, a thing, or hell, let's say you're in your house, you hear sounds, something there that shouldn't be there. Then you hear a voice say, come closer. What do you do? Do you come closer? Do you run the other way? Or are you one of those curious people who must find out? Me? I guess it depends my mood. When I was a kid, the first time my family took me to a haunted house, we all went in. There's 4 of us. My uncle, my step-grandfather, David, I think he's passed away, Dan, 2 of my cousins, and me. Back then, I was a big old boy. And I guess we woke up old Raven or something. Maybe it was a buzzard. I don't know. But that thing went to flapping and squalling. It startled me so bad, I went running straight through those grown men. I was terrified. Now, I can see that happening to me now. I can see me going from a brave, defiant soul to a scaredy cat in a split second. It's the fear of the unknown. The question. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the moment where it's time for a break. So I'm going to hit the music. Talk and chat if you can. Ask some questions. I'll be back. And then we'll start on the next part. All right, I'm back. Now, I thought I'd I had to take a quick break. I had to grab a smoke, some coffee. And I thought we'd cover a little news before we start. Channel news, basically. I'm still working on moving all of the videos to the backup. And that's going to take me a while. Harder than I thought. Tuck, for anyone that wants to know. I mean, he's been on the channel a lot. Good guy. He's in a place right now that don't have that great of service. He should be on tomorrow, though, I hope. And we plan to finish the time travel stuff. At least try to break it open. We also plan to do some QAnon stuff. I think it's a good time to approach that topic. And I found a story from a time traveler 7 years ago. While he was off a hair, he seemed to predict every single thing that is going on. I mean, almost word for word. Item per item. From brain chips to the thing going on in Iran. This is stuff this guy couldn't have known. But there's a lot of people who think that we're on the precipice of catastrophe. And we might be. But anyway, we will go into all that. We have so much to go over on this channel. Now, the voice in the tree line, or wherever it was, the way I looked at it, it was just everywhere in the audio, in his head, speaking to anything that would listen or record. He kept saying, "Come closer." And you could hear the guy say, "Nope, absolutely not." I think that's a honest response. I think I would have said the same thing. He kept saying, "That sounds like a voice in my head." He kept saying, "Come closer, come closer." But it wasn't a voice in his head. It was a voice on the tape. The light in the tree brightened suddenly. The iris on the camera, you could see it change. I'm thinking if it was any brighter, it would have burnt the camera. And then the camera was pointed at the ground. You could hear him. He was breathing hard, like he had just got done running. He was tripping over his words. I saw something in the beam. A shape. Tall. Thin. Like a person stretched too far. Its arms They bent the wrong way. The audio, you could hear a branch snap nearby. Something was now hunting him. You could hear him say, "Okay, I'm moving. I'm moving." You can see him running, the ground moving as he finds places to hide. He tries to hide behind a fallen tree. He starts whispering. The light, it's scanning, like it's searching for something. He didn't realize it was searching for him. The hum grows louder. The trees begin to vibrate. He says, "I swear I saw horns. Not like an animal. Like something wearing the shape, a human shape, as a costume." The whispering returns, layered and overlapping. "Come closer. Come closer." And then it says, "Don't run. We see you. Stay. Don't run. We see you. Stay." You can hear him calling back at the voice in the beam. "No, no, no." He keeps talking. "Don't run. We see you. Stay." And you can hear him once again saying, "No, no, no." He's running again. The camera's sprinting, heavy breathing. As the camera bobs up and down, you can see the light above the tree line following him. He's panicking now. He's saying, "It's above me. It's following me. The beam. It's bending around the trees." Light doesn't do that. Even in this time that he's being hunted by this thing, he still has some analytical mind about him. He's still curious about what this thing is. Well, maybe he's thinking it's a drone. Maybe he's thinking it's something else. You know, in those circumstances, we try to rationalize. And I think some people that end up disappearing is because they rationalized a little too long. Sometimes it's a good time to drop the curiosity and just haul ass and get out of there. You know the old saying, curiosity killed the cat. Well, a shadow drops into the beam. A long, spindly silhouette. He literally screams. He says, "Oh God, it's looking at me." The figure tilts its head. The audio distorts violently. You can make out bits and pieces of what he's trying to say and what this thing is trying to say. But the audio, the voices, begin to sound electric. like they don't belong. Like a bad mic, almost. The camera hits the ground. The guy is dragged backward into the beam. Now we can only see his legs. He's screaming, turn it off, turn it off, turn it. A blinding flash, and he vanishes. And just like in the movies and all the stories, on the camera you can watch the beam retract upward to whatever this light is. Now, I don't know what happened to him. All I know is somehow I got the tape. Did he leave a note on it? I don't know. Was he pulling my leg? It's a lot to go through just to send something like that to me. But I know his number doesn't work anymore. And I can't find a trace of him. And if he was doing it for fame or publicity or trying to make a movie, it seems like you'd leave breadcrumbs back to this guy. He didn't. It's just one of many things that are in my vault of artifacts. And sometimes I wonder how many people like me have stuff like this. Have weird glitches and weird collections of proof. Some of this stuff, I'm not going to lie, I would be afraid to show online. This one, as soon as I can convert it, I'll throw it online. People will try to pick it apart. But I know the story behind it. Now you do too. Just a collection of stories, right? So guys, as I said, tomorrow we will talk about the stream starting to act weird again. It's turned orange on me. But we will go into the rest of the UFO stuff. A few things we can talk about tonight. I don't mind. I got time. The government has come out and said that we now have the technology to be in time and space. I don't know how else to take that. How do you take that? An official statement from the White House stating that we now have technology to bend time and space. That sure sounds like time travel to me, don't it? Google, if you guys were following along the other night, you would have heard that the government has made an agreement with Google to use their AI with no restrictions, their quantum computers, for the Pentagon, for weapons, for anything. You know, that's a big thing when it comes to the Pentagon. So that means DARPA has access to everything, which might be a good thing. I don't know. But today, a guy that was over the quantum division in Google publicly stated, and I believe this was early disclosure, that within 7 years we will have achieved time travel. There's a whole lot of people talking about time travel. There's a whole lot of people talking about UFOs. There's a whole lot of people talking about beings, like the beings I talked about here in this video tonight. I guess everything that I do here recently there's a reason behind it. Maybe I'm trying to normalize my brain into understanding what is going on. I think we all should. I think we have all been concerned about the stuff we've had to deal with in our everyday lives. You know, monetary things, sickness, war, so many distractions. And you get to the point and you wonder, what is the distraction and what isn't? And to be honest with you, I think everything else, I think they're trying to distract us from something that will change the world. All these scientists, another one, by the way, was off today, a UFO scientist researcher. There was one yesterday. Now, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm working on these stories, and I'm working on them in real time. And like the Cole Allen thing, I wrote up 8 pages of 3 different documents. I mean, there were a total of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, like 25 pages of 3 different versions of the story. I was trying to go over them all. And the other night, we spent 3 hours getting to the real theories. You know, getting to the stuff that actually makes sense without all the weirdness wrapped around it. And it's still weird. You can't not go down the rabbit hole. I mean, for some reason, I've been thinking about that story over and over and over again. Hold on 1 minute. I'm back. I'm sorry. But we have to kind of wonder. The picture that's on the background of that Twitter account. by now, if you've watched the video or you've seen someone else's video or you read an article on the internet, I'm sure you have, if you got curious about this, I mean, I know a lot of people that did. It's from a thing called the time machine. Now, tomorrow, we will go in, that's probably the first thing we talk about, but tomorrow we're going to go into how those pictures are made. And it basically takes all of the stuff. I mean, they literally have a model. This was AI before AI. They literally have a model that shows how this thing works. And it takes all the information, you plug it in, and it spits out what they think the future will look like. Some version of it. And this thing seemed to have known about what would happen to Trump that day, the Butler assassination. Which to me is just amazing. But that's not really time travel. That's prediction of future events. Now, one of the scientists, the lady, I know you saw her online, she claimed that she was being hit by energy weapons, and she showed pictures of her hands being red. She studies anti-gravity. Her and her father worked for NASA. I was able to get a scientific paper about her and her dad and everything. In a paper where they were looking for funding, well, no paper. They seem to have acquired their funding from somewhere. Well, like I said, they was working on anti-gravity. A lot of Tesla stuff and other things. And I got a hold of an email about her talking. She says, you can go forward and back. She's talking about time travel. And she says, in 7 years, or between now and 7 years, there's a cataclysm. Doesn't really go into cataclysm, but she goes into talking about the UAPs and the UFOs. And it's something that I want to bring up tomorrow, because was she a smart person? I think she was. A lot of people seem to think she was a smart person. I know her father was supposedly a genius for NASA. And I think their story demands to be told. At least what we can of it. Because there's a lot of confusion out there. But she legitimately thought that we could travel through time and space. She seemed to have done it herself. And she seemed to... This was an email she was having with a congressman. And she... Literally a page-long email about what the aliens want and what they're doing, and just goes on and on and on about it. And then she talks about another scientist that passed away. And I think it's probably a good time to mention that there was another one that passed away, and his son come forward. And he said that his father had left him a military trunk, full of UFO videos and pictures and stuff from where he worked. And I don't know. I'm still working on finding out if that is 100% real, but it sounds like it is. So we should know more about that in the coming days. But that seems to look wild. But anyway, like always, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I did. Stay paranoid, my friends. Thank you and good night. If I can, I'll be back on later. I have to go pay bills tomorrow. And when I get home, I should be live. Night, guys.